start with his uh, spiritual blessings, and he would also link it with the asset management and the greater or the larger picture of the spiritual and the technical relationship. So I invite Swamiji to bless us, and from here on we will have the conference proceedings after Swamiji's blessings. Thank you.
So now I request Dr. Jagdish Gopalan, Professor, IISc Bangalore, to introduce the Swamiji to the gathering.
Lovely good morning to all of you. I am Professor Gopalan Jagdish from the Indian Institute of Science, from the Department of Aerospace Engineering. I am honored to say a few words about Swami Muktidananda Maharaj, who is the president of the Ramakrishna Ashram in Mysore. Ramakrishna Mission, for some of us who are from outside India, is probably one of the unique organizations which has been managing assets in several areas. But what is very interesting to this particular conference, that they have more than 206 educational institutions, which has graduated close to 10 million students till date. And I am also one of those students who studied in the Ramakrishna Vidyashala in Mysore. And more than 90% of those students have come from probably one of the lowest strata of economy, where they couldn't really afford education, and several of those students are actually contributing in a big way. Swami Muktidananda Maharaj is a very unique combination. He himself is a renowned biologist. He is a master's in botany. And the way people talk about sustainable green asset management, one should actually visit Sri Ramakrishna Vidyashala, Mysore, where in a 29-acre campus, every tree that has been named by its biological name. And Ramakrishna Mission manages his assets in a very unique sense, where they really value intellectual capital. And Swamiji himself is a very renowned author who has authored several books. He has actually managed Ramakrishna Vidyashala for over 20 years. He was also president of the Advaita Ashram in Kolkata, which actually publishes several books on the relationship between spirituality, humanity, and the way man-mind can work in unison. He was also in charge of the Mayavati Ashram, which is a very unique place which is in the foothills of Himalayas. And then he was also president of the Mumbai Ashram. For us as students of Ramakrishna Vidyashala, we dearly know him as Swami Muktidananda Maharaj. And one of the very unique things that we really highlight is, as India modernized under the premiership of P.V. Narasimha Rao and Manmohan Singh, way back when we really moved from a controlled economy to a modern economy, in some sense in our own history of 75 years, close to 70 years in Ramakrishna Vidyashala, it was during Maharaj's period that we made the transition from a rather conservative old school of managing people to the slightly relaxed, the modern way of shaping up the future citizens of the country. Without much ado, I would request Maharaj to address the gathering. Thank you so much.
Sarve Janaha Sukhino Bhavantu, Sri Ramakrishna Sharanam. Very good morning to everybody. I'm indeed very glad to be here amidst you all this morning. This conference, International Conference on Maintenance and Intelligent Asset Management. And Mr. Chattopadhyay ji, Raghuveer Pai ji, and other invitees, intellectuals, representatives from the various forums and organizations, Dr. Jagdish Gopal ji, and dear friends. I was going through the content of this asset management and had a discussion with Mr. Raghuveer Pai and Mr. Chattopadhyay ji, and their thinking and the vast canvas of this asset management. And the challenge before us is in the march of this civilization, in this man-made world, man has created so many things out of the nature's ingredient, Prakriti. And we have large assets in a human ecosystem. There is material aspect of a human ecosystem wherein you are talking about how to maintain and intelligently manage the assets. What should be our approach to this macro phenomena where a thinking human being who is the crown of the biological evolution of the nature, walking on the planet by nature given intelligence, a special mind, which was not given to the other strata of the living kingdom. We have now 10,000 years of the known recorded history of civilization. We have made our own huge machineries, buildings, roads, the urban, whole urban infrastructures, bridges, and we are trying to make our own man-made civilization, and also man-made culture is parallelly evolving. Now, in this march of the human civilization, unfortunately, ecological awareness did not precede the urbanization. After spoiling everything, the air, water, now we have suddenly become aware that we have to manage the environment ourselves. Nature is a mighty force. Our intelligence is the gift of nature. But are we managing the nature in a manner we should have managed? What is our approach to the abiotic and the biotic factors of the ecosystem? The living and the non-living. Living are human beings, and then down to amoeba, the living system. We are the masters. What is our responsibility? Are we to think only of the human being and creates such ecologically abusive, what I mean is ecologically unhealthy type of habitat we have created? We have our biochemistry. We should know life depends upon muscular system, the digestive system, the lungs. It's a perfect machinery. And we are creating assets, we are creating commodities, we are creating habitats. Is it in harmony with the entire creation nature? Should we live in multi-storied, crammed human life? Only privileged few we live like this, and millions live like cats and dogs. So this asset management is a very important subject, I feel, when you collectively and look at it in a macro level. What is called maintenance and intelligent asset management, a subject which has now emerged, is an important subject. Man is defined as a tool-making animal. Whether it is a machine, huge industry, a building, the water bodies, water management, and varieties of things that has emerged from the human creativity and made an integral part of our civilization. Now, whatever we have created has to be managed properly. See, in mythological concept in any religion, there is God who is a creator, we call Brahma, and the God who sustains. Sustaining and maintenance is very important part of creation. What should be the abiding values of sustenance, maintenance, preservation? There is a Lord being called Vishnu who is the sustainer and preserver. And there is a destruction. Every matter, they say, cyclically has to undergo. And we have studied nitrogen cycle, carbon cycle. Everything is in a cyclical way moves. So human beings also born, they grow and die. And we just vanish into nothing. No address where we go. We do not know where we have come from. But now body is hanging on. And in this, in between the known sense-bound world of body-mind complex, man has created a generations of human beings born into biological world by the system which the nature has bequeathed us. And we live on earth like any other animal. But we are capped with intelligence. And then everybody will go away. But no, we don't go away all at once. There is what is called transition. We give our knowledge to the next generation, the next generation, next generation. And older generation will vanish, totally vanish. Leaving the knowledge, the assets, the thing, whatever the material things that the earlier generation has left, the culture, the practices, the knowledge left, we go away. And generation after generation, the value system and the knowledge is passed on in a bucket brigade fashion. Now, your conference deals with how to deal with the assets that we have created to the various organizations, individually and collectively. How are we to regulate, bring about an order? It is not enough if you create a building or a road or a machine. But what about the sustainability, the efficient, intelligent maintenance of it? Everything calls for maintenance. Body calls for maintenance. You create anything, then there is what is called user's manual and maintenance manual. For everything. You get a machine, you should know how to use it. You use glass, you should know with what material you have to clean it. How are we to maintain the concrete? How are we to maintain the surfaces? And what about the waste management? This asset management has a abiotic factor. Abiotic factor means non-living factor. You are talking about the machines, buildings, tools, huge things that man-made creation. What about biotic factors of an ecosystem? Biotic factors are living beings. We are all biotic factors. And there is an exchange between the abiotic and biotic factor, exchange of energy. Every molecule goes from living to the non-living and non-living to the living. There is also maintenance. Maintenance takes place in cyclical manner. Now we create a machine, what happens? We create a new machine, a better machine. Maintaining the existing machine to the best use of the human beings and living beings, keeping in view all abiotic factors, water, air, land, and the flora and the fauna. Because we are a part of a huge complex, you cannot do anything in isolation. Whatever we do and we manage, the immediate impact, the shock absorber or the beneficiary, in positive sense or in a negative sense, is the human beings, our mind and our biochemistry. Biochemistry means body. You create such a habitat, your eye get affected, your auditory organ get affected. You create such assets, such things, which will impair the finest. Nature has taken millions of years to create a very fine eye which we cannot replicate so easily. Ear and a heart. That the greatest machine, most complex machine is human beings themselves. Have we created in this man-made creation anything better than the human beings? As intelligent, as sensitized, as perfect as human being? Any machine is equal to, any asset that you have created is equal to human beings? I don't think so. We have been able to create anything equivalent to the brain and the mind. So, our greatest asset is, human capital is our mind and intelligence. And the certain value system, love, understanding, these are the important tools of the asset management. If this break away, your material approach only to the asset management will not work. If the value system of the mind and the human beings collapse, one defeating the other, if it is self-destructive because of the selfishness, short-sightedness, not properly applying the reasoning faculty, we create one today without proper inadequate research, and its impact on the people is devastating. Then you withdraw. The human intelligence has to be really multifaceted. Not the unidirectional human intelligence. A multi-directional human intelligence and self-search directed human intelligence. search of our inner self is an important ingredient in material management, in mind management, in the world management, in life management. Ultimately, the truth of our individuality, that which is behind the body, mind as I, and that consciousness, that which is called as spirituality. Spirituality means the inner search, that's all. We are in a sense-bound world, we are searching in Kriti outside. What are stars? What is the ultimate nature of a matter, atom, electrons, protons and all that? What is light? What is every biological system? What is the structure of a cell? What is the structure of an atom? But should we not study ourselves? This body, mind, ego, I, we go into a state called sleep. We are born the other day. Before that, what was my nature of my existence or collective existence, the entire human race, before its birth. And the greatest perplexing, not yet fully known phenomena called death, which every individual has to face, every living being has to face. This mortal coil comes to a halt, a terminal point of life called death. And we go mad. So, this material management, asset management has to have some relation with our mind and human existence and the ecosystem. I think three factors should be the reference points of intelligent asset management. One is the ecosystem, nature, environment. Second is what happens to the human mind. We live through our mind. Mind means value system. Every moment we create a thought, an idea. And the owner of this idea, the inner subjective pole of that idea, the subtle, the root from which the idea emerges, from this feeling of I, individuality, the root of I. And this kind of a subjective aspect of human existence and the objective aspect of the asset management, in between there is mind. So all these three things have to be aligned. And we have to create a holistic approach to this intelligent asset management and maintenance. Because we are handling God's creation, though it is a man-made, is ultimately nature's creation. We are an integral part of nature. So the laws governing the nature, and nature has made our biochemistry. If you mismanage matter, life, and your life surrounding things in the world, and if it affects your biochemistry, you are gone. Anything affects our biochemistry, it results in disease. Anything affects your mind, it results in varieties of mental disorder. We are handling the world with the mind. And the load on the mind, the tension, all that. Also, when you talk about the intelligent asset management, the tool of asset management is human mind. human consciousness that cannot be totally forgotten or kept aside. So, this kind of a civilizational unilateral march without bothering about ecosystem nor bothering about the basic human values and spiritual values and the need of a efficient management of human biochemistry, that is health. Any wrong way of living leads to disease. Now there are such problems, human health problems, for which remedy is the right type of living, eating, walking, moving, sleeping. So any approach to this kind of a material management cannot be bereft of the psychological aspect, the mental aspect, the ecological aspect, and the spiritual aspect. I have gone through your tip of an iceberg concepts which are in the brochure. There must be far deeper concepts you are all trying to evolve during this workshop and go forward. I am sure this is a very fantastic subject. This is not one subject. In these 100 subjects commingled together to create a philosophy of how we should manage our assets that our civilization has created. The role of the government is important. I am sure asset management and the government bodies should work hand in hand, and the larger stakeholders, industry and education system. And this asset management should be, I am sure, should be a part of any degree, whether engineering degree or any other degree. We create so much of junk. We draw everything from nature. Nature has created everything in cyclical manner. That which is not part of any, whether it's a plastic or electronic junk, if you are not able to recycle and it gets accumulated, it affects ecosystem, it affects human biochemistry, it affects the resource, and we are in short supply of the resource. So any resource of the nature, when we handle, we have to be very careful. You should have a long-range vision of what will happen after 500 years, because human race has to continue. You will not be able to create 1 gram of stone. It's because of that. But you will be able to create wood. You can create jungles. Even though the forest cover has come down drastically, very drastically. The impact of the human civilization and reckless dwindling of the trees and using wood for all kinds of purpose. And it is the tree which gives us the oxygen. Every molecule of oxygen that we breathe comes from photosynthesis. They take carbon dioxide, and this concept in our philosophy is called yajna. See, if you study Gita, yajnartha karmano anyatra lokoyam karma bandhanaha. Do everything in the spirit of yajna. Yajna means there is a give and take cycle right from the divine origin onwards till the last bit of the creation. There is a continuous give and take. See, we take oxygen and give back carbon dioxide. That carbon is taken by the plants and they make food out of that carbon. Ours is the carbon-based, whole system. Life is carbon-based. Carbon is the dominating, atom which pervades this universe. So, we need to really understand that the cyclical form in which every matter has to roll in the utility cycle. If it gets stuck somewhere, It is just like that, what is cancer? Cancer is not like any other disease. Cancer is disorder of the order of cell division. Human body, our growth, there is a regulation of cell division. Prophase, metaphase, anaphase, telophase. And whether the liver or the brain or the bone or the blood cell, everything replicates in an orderly manner. There is a regulating factor. There is a gene, there is an order, there is a command, which in embryological study you wonder. If you study human embryology or plant embryology, that order that is there, or in protein biosynthesis, how the transfers RNA will goes into the cytoplasm, pick up the nucleotides, is such a orderly way things happen without the flow of human intelligence. Nature has so much of intelligence. Anyway, so there is an intelligence already working. It is in its place. Human intelligence has to understand nature's intelligence. And let us be in harmony with nature's intelligence. Otherwise, like cancer, that regulating factor which controls the cell division is damaged, is affected. As a result, reckless cell division takes place. Urbanization is a cancer of human civilization. If you go to Calcutta and Bombay and see, should human being live like that? A bird on a tree lives with a beautiful nest, so hygienically, so healthy way. The animals in the forest, the ants live so orderly way. See how human beings live? In this dirty, disorderly, all kinds of, reckless things happen. Should human being live like that? All this is also part of the asset management. We have failed in asset management. We have failed in bringing in order in all that we do in the world. There is an intelligence within us. We should be in search of this intelligence to bring in order in creation. And whether it's the government law or this intelligent asset management, we need really a new intelligence, a coordination of the material things, how we can really manage and sustain the whole material world is a great science which needs to be studied. With this, I conclude and thank the organizers for inviting me to share a few ideas. Thank you very much.
We are very grateful to have Swamiji with us at the beginning of this second day of conference. We are highly privileged to receive the blessings from the Swamiji. I may now call upon the chairpersons of this conference to honor Swamiji as a token of respect. Thank you, sirs.